every 10 years, we're required by our Constitution to take a census, and after we take the census, ultimately what really happens when we find out how many people live in whatever districts, the districts that we have are basically illegal, they're unconstitutional, and that's the reason we have to go through the process of drawing new maps, State House, State Senate, Public Service Commission, and congressional maps for the next election, so that we can make sure that we adhere to the one person, one vote. And that's the process we've started with this. And in doing this, it's important to remember this is not something that we want to do. This is not something that we decide that we want to create new districts and draw new districts. We're required by law to do this. And so as we start to go through this process and do this, we're going around the state to gather information and input from citizens about what they think is important for us to consider as we will go through and actually go and draw these maps. So tonight is an opportunity for you, the public, to come and to make your comments. Let me say that because of how we are structuring the meeting so that we make sure that everybody has an opportunity to have their comments, this is what we call public comments. We're not here to answer questions. We're not here to engage in any kind of debate. If you have any specific questions, feel free to approach any of us afterwards, or your House member or your Senate member to get those, because I hope you can understand, if we start engaging in questions and answers, then we could get into a situation where people feel like that it's going to take too long and they will ultimately leave. So how we will do this in this hearing is that if you want to make any comments before the House and the Senate reapportionment redistricting committees, there's a sign-up sheet out front. So if you want to go, please sign up. They will bring the sign-up sheet to us, and we will call your name in the order that you signed up. You will please come to this podium right here to speak, and make sure that when you speak you get close to the microphone so that we can capture both on video and audio your public comments. Every one of the public hearings we're having in the state will be posted on our website. That website is, for those of you who want to write this down, is www.legis.ga.gov. You can go to that website and you can look at every public hearing and all the comments that were made in different parts of the state. And after this meeting, you'll be able to go back. If you want to see yourself and your comments, you can do that on the internet. So feel free to do that. As I said, we have a collection of members of the General Assembly that are here. We have members of the Reapportionment Redistricting Committee, both in the House and the Senate, but we also have other members of the General Assembly that have attended here. Do we have a handless mic? Wireless mic, excuse me. I'm sorry, I've been driving all day. You have to excuse me. With that, we'd like to take the opportunity to introduce to you the members of the General Assembly that are here. If the House, well, I'll do the Senate. I'll let Representative Lane do the House. I was trying to be polite and let the House go first, but if you are a member of the Senate Reapportionment and Redistricting Committee, would you please stand for the purpose of introducing yourself to the audience?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. My name is Ed Harbison. I represent the 15th Senatorial District, that is partial Columbus and all of Chattahoochee County, which is Fort Benning. Glad to be here. Thank you very much.
And would also like to recognize that Senator Harbison did 3 tours of duty in Vietnam and is a Purple Heart recipient. Thank you very much.
I'm Senator Chip Rogers, and I represent portions of Cherokee and Cobb County.
And Senator Rogers is also the Senate Majority Leader, which we're very glad and very proud that he would be here with us today. Any other members of the Senate Reapportionment Redistricting Committee? Do we have any other members from the Senate that are here? I'm going to get you. Okay. Of course, there's someone that's up here by my side who is the Secretary of the Senate Reapportionment Redistricting Committee, Senator Charlie Bethel. with whom I'm going to let him run the meeting here just a minute. So do you have any opening comments you'd like to make to the individuals of this? I don't know if you know any of these people.
Well, no, I'm Charlie Bethel. I represent the 54th Senate District, which is all of Murray County, all of Whitfield County, portions of Catoosa and Gordon counties, which is, of course, you're in my home district, and I appreciate everybody turning out tonight and the committee being here, and just do want to say I appreciate everybody being flexible, not just the crowd here, but the folks at Whitfield County who adjusted to allow the courthouse to be made available for all of us tonight, and certainly the people at the EMCs, Georgia Power, and Dalton Utilities who are out trying to get everybody's power back on today, really across the area.
Thank you. With that, I will let Representative Roger Lane introduce the House members that are here.
Thank you, Senator Seaball, and thank you all for being here. I'm Roger Lane, and I'm from Darien down on the coast, and represent McIntosh, Long, Glenn, and Wayne counties. This is a great process we're going through, and we appreciate y'all being here to participate in it and to give us your input into the redistricting process. It really means a lot to us, and I know it means a lot to y'all to be able to give us your opinions on how redistricting should go. At this time, I'd ask the members of the House Redistricting Committee to stand and introduce themselves and tell folks where you're from.
I'm Representative Bobby Franklin, representing House District 43, which is the northeast corner of Cobb County.
I'm Representative Sharon Beasley Teague, and I represent South Fulton County, down past southwest of the Atlanta Airport.
And I'm Barbara Reese, representing House District 11, right over the ridges, Trine, Somerville, Menlo, Lyerly, Armurchie, Rome, Coosa, and Lindale. And Mr. Chairman, if I could impose a moment, I would like to recognize that we do have Denise Clompton, who is representing Senator Isaacson's office today.
Okay, great. Thank you.
I'm Representative Tom Dixon, and I see a lot of my folks here because I represent portions of Whitfield, Murray, and Catoosa County, District 6. I'm glad to see all of y'all here.
I'm Ellis Black. I represent District 174, which is right down on the Florida line, and I represent everything between Metcalf and Fargo. And that should tell you just how country we are down there.
I'm Mary Margaret Oliver. I represent middle of DeKalb County in the Emory-Decatur neighborhood.
Good evening. I'm Lynn Smith from Noonan, Georgia, and I represent House District 70, western part of Coweta, city of Noonan, and part of Heard County. Thanks for having us.
Good evening. My name is Sean Jurgensen. I represent District 22, which is the southern and central part of Cherokee County, just right down the road. So thank you for having us here tonight, and we look forward to having a great hearing.
Then we have other House members here. If they would introduce themselves, you probably know some of these folks, but start over there with Representative Neal.
Jay Neal, House District 1, parts of Catoosa and Walker County. Good to be with you.
I'm John Meadows. I represent the 5th District, which is Murray County and Gordon County.
I'm Rick Jaspers. I represent all of Pickens, part of Gordon, and just a little bit of Bartow.
Don't miss a local one.
Good afternoon. They're about to forget me. I'm Roger Williams. I'm part of y'all out here. I represent probably most of you here in the audience. I represent Dalton and portions of Whitfield County. Welcome to Dalton, the carpet capital of the world. And I commend you for what job y'all are doing, and you got a tough job ahead of you, but welcome up here with us today. Thank you.
We appreciate y'all having us here. As you can see, we've got a pretty good representation of the state here from the State House and the Senate, and they've been, this is our ninth hearing already? 10th hearing, I can't count, but who's counting? And these representatives have gone to each one of them, so I think we ought to give them a big hand for being here and for putting up with all this. Thank you very much. And with that, we'll turn it back over to Senator Seaball to get the meeting started and hear from y'all, which is what we're here for. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. If I could recognize, if you are a member of the House or the Senate staff that is a part of setting up this meeting and making sure that everything runs smoothly this meeting, if you would please stand, and if you are standing, go ahead and raise your hand so we can acknowledge you. Thank you very much for all of your efforts. And with that applause, I would ask that from here on, if we not have any applause, because all that does is have an opportunity, takes away time from everybody else's public speaking. Let individuals make their comments, and then we can make sure that we can move on to the next one. Here's how we'll do this meeting. Those who have signed up, we have you on a sign-up sheet. When Senator Bethel will go through and he will call two individuals' names. So one person will come to speak at this podium. Again, if you'll speak this podium, make sure that you get close to the mic so everybody can hear you and we can capture that. When you stand up, please, the first thing to do is to give us your name and where you're from. That way, for the public record, we have exactly that, because if you, like I said, if you have questions or information, somebody may want to get in touch with you, and that way we'll have that as a part of that record. If everybody will, at this point in time, if you will please take your cell phones and take them and make sure you turn them to at least vibrate or whatever, so we don't have cell phones going off during the meeting, because that can be disruptive. If your cell phone goes off, we will get Senator Harbison to take you and to teach you a few things that he did when he was in Vietnam, so we don't want that. So we'd appreciate that. Also remember that this is being taped, so whatever comments you have is something that will be part of the public record. You will be given 3 minutes to speak. Now, in this process we go through, we have public hearings. You also have plenty of opportunity either to give in writing to this committee, to either Chairman Lane or myself, to your specific senator or House member. You can give any information. You can go to the website that I gave you. You can post more comments. So if you have comments that you didn't quite get in your 3 minutes, there is plenty of opportunity to still give comments to this committee for them to have an opportunity to understand. As you're making your comments, remember these are the individuals that will be voting on these maps. It's not just the three of us. We're only the officers here in trying to coordinate and run this meeting. They're the ones that will be making that vote, so please make sure you make your comments directed towards them. Like I said, you'll have 3 minutes. We have a timer. Who's our timer? We have a timer over here. And when your time is up, please just go ahead and stop your comments, and so the next person could step forward and begin their comments. Is there anything else that I've forgotten? Probably. With that, I will turn the mic over to Senator Bethel and let him run the meeting from this time forward. And I want to say thank you very much for hosting us, and thank you very much for being part of the process and giving us what you believe is important information that we need to consider as we go through this very important job that we have. Senator Bethel.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Our first two speakers will be Helen Crawford, followed by Jackie Renfro. So, Ms. Crawford.
That would have allowed
Ms. Renfro. Our next two speakers will be Ms. Winnie Hargis and Margaret Ball.
People who can't hear well, are you going to have captioning for them too? By law, the Americans with Disability Act requires this. Thank you. Hello. May I be permitted one quick question that's not on my list? Am I speaking to more than one political party representatives? More than one? All right, thank you. I'm Margaret Ball. I've lived in Dalton, Whitfield all my life. I am a member of the League of Women Voters, but I have just completed a 4-year term as chair of the 9th Congressional District of the Democratic Party. So that makes me familiar with these 15 counties in northwest Georgia. My first question, Ann Lewis, who is a lawyer for the state Republican Party, appointed special counsel to the Legislative and Redistricting Committee. I just want to point that out. Okay. Number two, what data will be taken into account when drawing the maps? Beyond what beyond the census data and the voting age of the population, will you be using the percentage of the voting in each of the counties? For example, I'm very familiar with the number who vote Democrat and the number who vote Republican in these 15 counties. Basically, I'll point out Whitfield, which votes 70% Republican and 30% Democratic. Number three, we are concerned that the general counsel chosen to assist in this process is also the same counsel for the Georgia Republican Party. Thank you.
Thank you. Next two speakers will be Jim McGarvey and Virgilia Meek.
Hello, I'm Jim McGarvey, resident of Gordon County, and I'm chairman of the Gordon County Republican Party. I just have two issues to make a comment on. One is at our state representative level district lines. We have the 5th and 12th district, and our county has grown quite rapidly, as noted in USA Today this past 2 weeks ago. And we qualify for, in excess of 2% of having one state representative for our whole county. We have 55,162 citizens. And so we would like to have one representative. That seems to be the common sentiment. It could be either one of the excellent gentlemen we have as representative, but one would feel better. The second is, more important, we are split right down the middle, and not well, by population on congressional districts. And if Dr. Hawkins would have won in Gainesville rather than Tom Graves, we would have been at a small county at the far end of 2 congressional districts. So we would like to be complete again, as we have been for past decades, as one county and congressional district, and as close as we can come to one state representative for Gordon County. Thank you.
Hello. My name is Virgilia Meek, and I've lived here 37 years. I'm observing the fourth time that we will have redistricting here in Georgia. And I do hope that whatever we do will pass the Department of Justice and that we will not have this hanging over us for 4 or 5 years like we did in 2000. As one who has observed the burgeoning Latina population, I want to be sure that the State Election Commission understands that here in Northwest Georgia, we have many people who have come. Some are still here who are illegal, but many have made sure that they are legal residents, and their children were born here, and they are legal. Now, these little children are growing up in our school systems. Having been an employee of these school systems, I see that they are quite loyal to Georgia. Sometimes when their families go back to Guatemala, El Salvador, or Mexico, these young people are independent and they stay here in Whitfield County. These young people will vote. Now, they may have Spanish-sounding names, but I believe they will be true Americans. And I hope that you will take in consideration the large number of young people who will be of voting age once this 10-year cycle is over. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next two speakers will be Adam Griffin and Dennis Mock.
My name is Adam Griffin. I'm the vice chair for the Whitfield County Democratic Party. I live in Cohutta, Georgia. I sat down a few weeks ago and began to look at how our lines are drawn, how they've been drawn, and within the past 10 years, we've had 2 different sets of lines drawn by 2 different parties, with the only common denominator being that they've been rather gerrymandered. What we, and I assume everyone in this audience, would like to see is that the lines are drawn with transparency, and they're drawn based on fairness, geography, and access of the constituents within each district to be able to congregate and work together to make sure that their representatives are representing them. So I sat down and I actually managed to come up with a rough draft of the national congressional districts. I only split 5 counties and managed to keep each congressional district within 2,000 residents of one another. So I ask you all to proceed with this as if we all matter equally, regardless of political affiliation or beliefs. Thank you.
I'm Dennis Mock. I live here in Dalton, and I'll be brief because part of what I wanted to say has already been said. I do want to commend you folks for your service, and I know you've got a big task ahead of you, and it's going to be tough. But as others have said, keep it fair, keep it simple, and probably one of the biggest suggestions I have is try to use streets as boundaries instead of power lines or whatever. There are a lot of folks who don't know where they live or what district they're in. I mean, they know where they live, they don't know what district they're in, and that would be most helpful. Thanks.
Okay, our next speaker will be Alan Brown, and that's all I have on this list, so if you would like to sign up, please feel free to do so.
I'm Alan Brown. I'm from the independent state of Dade, if you don't know where that is. Think about the Tennessee River, and that's where the boundary of Georgia should be. And one of the things that I want to ask is, given that the official code of Georgia, section 50-2-3, states that the 35th parallel will be the boundary of Georgia, and that's by legal agreement going back actually prior to the Revolution. Will you honor the 35th parallel and not disenfranchise the voters who live within roughly 1.1 miles of the what is now considered, though it's not a legal definition, what is now considered the Georgia line. I would like for us to get back our territory that belongs to the state of Georgia. And I'd like to correct Senator Siebel on one thing. The current mappings and such are not unconstitutional or illegal. They need to be updated according to the census that's recently taken place, but that doesn't make the current congressional and senatorial and other districts illegal or unconstitutional. We need to bring them up to date, but they're not unconstitutional. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, I'm getting the no nod to whether we have more sign-ups. So I don't have any more names on the list. I would suggest maybe we take a break if that's appropriate, and allow people who want to sign up. When we advertise these meetings as public hearings, we are compelled by doing the right thing, but also by the Open Meetings Act to stay for the duration of the time advertised. So somebody may be coming with the expectation of being here at the end. So we will stay here until as close to 7 o'clock as our watches can get. And so we will take breaks from time to time, but we're not going to go anywhere. So, Mr. Chairman, if you think a break's appropriate, I'd suggest that. Okay, we're going to take a break and reconvene at 6 o'clock. If anybody would like to comment or has comments they'd like to make, please feel free to sign up on the sheet out front, and we will reconvene at 6 o'clock. back into a seat. We got a few more speakers.
Are the microphones working? Can y'all hear us? I don't think they're on.
I think this one's on. I don't know.
I think mine's been on since I got here.
You want to?
I don't need it.
Okay, we have a few more speakers signed up, and I'll call us back to order, please. Just to remind everyone, the order when you come to the podium is please do state your name and where you're from, just for the record, so we can have that for our records going forward. The next two speakers will be Ricky Pritchett and Ed Painter.
And before we start on that, could we get any House members or senators that have shown up since we began to stand up and introduce yourself?
Wayne Howard, and I represent Augusta, Georgia, Richmond County.
Mr. Pritchett.
Hello, my name's Rick Pritchett. I am a candidate for the Maury County Commissioner seat, one of 15. And since we have more commissioners running than Whitfield County's ever had, I would like to recommend that we have our own House district, if you'd consider. Thank you.
That may be the first election that'll ever make money for the county, considering the qualifying fees. I'm Ed Painter, and I'm a lifelong resident of Dalton. And there was a few comments made, and I've heard this before, seen it in the paper, about the Carl Vinson Institute. And just looking at it as someone who watched what happened on the last reapportionment and the court cases that went along, I want to say that I do not miss having them in this fight. They are a great organization. Actually, I'm working with something where they are providing a lot of information. They're great, but they acquiesced last time to what you could call an obscene gerrymandering and political cutting up of the state at that time. The courts even threw it out. So I want everybody to think when they read this in a paper about what happened the last time they were involved. And I can't imagine that regardless of what's going on, this time with as much input as the legislators are getting, and I'm glad to see so many here, that if something's going wrong, somebody will blow a whistle on it. So, and I'm one of, me and others will be watching also. So we appreciate the hard work y'all have done, and thank you, Chairman Lane and Chairman Seaball and members of the committee and just other elected officials that came up. It is great, and I'm glad that we have this opportunity.
Thank you. Our next two speakers will be John Deffenbaugh. Did I get that right, John?
Correct.
And Kelly Persons.
My name is John Deffenbaugh, and I'm from Dade County, so you're not going to be changing us a whole lot. But in the same case, I'm speaking on behalf of the people in general. I appreciate your all being here to even give us the opportunity to speak and present our views. I'm going to use the word dog leg. I think you know what I mean by the gerrymandering, where one sticks way out and eliminates a lot of the ability for people to see their representatives, a lot of hardships if they have to, where it is quite often done for political reasons and not the population reasons. So on behalf of the people of the state, I wish that you would consider making it as square, rectangular, circular, whatever term you want, but try to eliminate the dog legs in life for the constituents of the state. Thank you for listening to me.
Good evening.
My name is Kelly Persons, and I'm here with the League of Women Voters of Georgia, also by extension the Georgia Redistricting Alliance, which is a coalition of nonpartisan groups in Georgia dedicated to a fair and transparent redistricting process. Most of you guys have seen me up here before, so I apologize. We do, of course, have 5 standards for redistricting that we have already submitted to the committee. If you don't have a copy or haven't received it, please let me know. Wanted to address the committee and let you know that we appreciate the opportunity to speak on principles that should be included in the redistricting process. Unfortunately, without maps, we're just left to speak in abstract. One of the things that we would encourage would be a public comment period once these maps have been revealed and before a full vote on the House and Senate to allow the public to actually look at the maps and comment on specific plans. One of our questions for the committee, which I'm sure will be revealed as time moves along, is how will the committee report back to the public? What is the vehicle that you will be using? Will it be via website? Will it be via press releases? How exactly, once you gather this information, will it be used? Another thing that we would like to encourage is that the committee submit their maps through the Department of Justice. With the pre-clearance, you obviously have 2 paths to go, and we believe that the Department of Justice is the most fair and balanced way to go. And that's all I have this evening. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Do we have anyone else signed up? Okay. All right. Well, you get another chance. We will, if it's all right with you, 6:30. We will take a break, and we'll call back at 6:30 and see if anyone else is signed up to speak. Thank you. Okay, we have one more speaker signed up, so if we could sort of call everybody back to order, I would appreciate it. Okay, we're going to go back into the hearing. Before I call on our next speaker, I recognize one of my Senate colleagues. Senator, if you would introduce yourself and tell everyone where you're from, please.
My name is Senator Donzella James. I represent the 35th Senate District, which is Fulton County and Douglas County. And I'm here to just look, listen, and learn. And thank you very much for all being out tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator. We do have one more speaker signed up, and as he's making his way up, I do want to thank Chairman Mike Babb for allowing us the use of this facility on behalf of the folks of Whitfield County and his flexibility as we had to sort of make a move due to the power outage. But I appreciate that, Mr. Chairman, and Mike Babb, it's you.
All right, gentlemen, I appreciate you coming and welcome to Whitfield County. We're glad to have you here. And of course, you're not going to get out of Whitfield County without me saying something about this. I apologize for not being at the beginning of the meeting because I did have to leave. We had a special called commissioners meeting tonight, but we now have that behind us. Do want to talk about when you're looking at the redistricting, please look at the 9th Congressional District, which we are part of now. And that stretches basically nearly from the South Carolina border all the way over to Dade County. If you've ever tried to travel east and west across North Georgia, you'll find that that's quite a chore to do. We love our people to the east of us, but actually our needs, wants, desires, and relationships run north and south more than they do east and west. If you look at I-75, 41 Highway, the W&A Railroad, they all run north and south because of geography. So we're kind of tied with everybody in northwest Georgia through geography and also through economics. Of course, we consider ourselves in Dalton to be the center of the economy for northwest Georgia, and we have some good competition with our friends down at Rome who want to also be the center of the economy in northwest Georgia. But I would like for you to, when you start looking at redistricting, look at northwest Georgia from, say, Fort Mountain this way down south as far as you need to go to get the right population. But we would like for you to consider looking at a congressional district for the northwest Georgia area. And I think you'll find that will be a sentiment that a lot of the other commissioners and mayors in the northwest Georgia area would also be in favor of. All has to do with geography. Thank you.
My watch looks suspiciously close to 7 o'clock, Mr. Chairman.
Is it 7 o'clock yet?
In Maine, I think it is.
It's 7 o'clock somewhere. That'd make a country song, wouldn't it? Except I think it's 5 o'clock somewhere. I don't know, Senator. What do you think? We could just ad lib up here. Are the lawyers still here? Okay.
We get. Well, with the chairman's approval, I'll close this, and I do want to say I think what we've said at all the meetings at the close is just to give an update on the process as it walks forward. We will be concluding our public hearings with 2 more, one tomorrow night in Gainesville on the campus of Brenau, and one on the 30th on the campus of Georgia Tech at the Business School, again 5 to 7 p.m. for all who want to participate. A reminder that access through the legislative website on the internet allows you to make any comments or provide any input that you would like to make or anyone else would like to make. And we have received informal notice that the governor will call our special session beginning August the 15th. Of course, he has to do that officially, but I think everyone expects August the 15th to be the beginning of our special session for the purpose of considering legislative redistricting and legislative maps. And of course, the process there is that a bill will have to emerge out of one or both chambers. That has to be done in a public setting, has to be read multiple times in both chambers before it can be assigned to committees. The folks that are here today will make up the committees in their respective chambers. It will go through the committee process where it will have public hearings. You will be able to see the maps. You will be able to testify on the maps. You will be able to participate in the process. As with any other bill, we're required to do appropriately so. And then those maps, once through the committee process, will go to the floors respectively for votes. And assuming we can agree on something between the two of us, we'll send it to the governor and see if he agrees for his signature. But that's the process in its most rudimentary form going forward. And Mr. Chairman, unless you have other business before us,
I'll just add, after we adopt the maps, then of course they have to go through pre-clearance with the Department of Justice. We're still under the Voting Rights Act, so we have to get pre-clearance once we go through our process of adopting a bill and getting the governor to sign it. Then we send it off to see if it meets the requirements of Voting Rights Act. So that's the final step. Well, it may not be the final step. We hope that's the final step in the process. Usually winds up in litigation somewhere, but hopefully we'll get around that this time if at all possible. But that's kind of the next process once we get the bill, is to go on to the Department of Justice, or we can file a declaratory judgment action in federal court in Washington, D.C., and go through the same process with the court, considering whether or not the maps meet the Voting Rights Act. We either have the court do it or the Department of Justice do it. So, and that decision will be made after all the maps are done and it's all passed, and see where we are then. Anyway, thank you all for being here. We appreciate your input. It means a lot to all the members of the committee. I know they carry your ideas and your wishes back to our committee meetings. We appreciate you, and thanks for being here. And if the senator can talk about 10 more minutes, we'll be 7 o'clock. We're out. So with that, we'll adjourn. If nobody objects, we appreciate y'all being here. Thanks.